Hey, everybody, welcome to Matmen, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm Andrew Zeri, and I'm joined by the man responsible for the problem in the Suez Canal, Rich Stambolian.
I blocked that canal. I don't want anybody to get their toilet paper.
Yeah, did you see the news? There's another shortage of toilet paper coming.
Yeah, and it's because of the Suez Canal. There's a shit. I know we've jumped from talking politics into talking about the Suez Canal right now, but it's almost like how weird did that ship get stuck in there? I kind of want to see like actual footage of this giant freighter go sideways into the Suez Canal. I hope nobody got hurt, but you know,
I gotta tell you this. I don't know how accurate this is. Okay, and I'm not spreading a rumor if it's not accurate. But I saw an article online. God, someone please confirm this is true, what I'm going to say. That they were attempting to draw a penis with the GPS coordinates.
Oh,
and that's the reason why they got stuck. Now, I have not seen any news report this. Somebody, please, God, I hope this is true. I really do.
That they were messing around and it screwed up like the telemetry of the ship.
I guess so.
Got stuck. Oh,
I believe it was a Vice story. It is true. Jonathan just confirmed that it's true. It was. I saw it on Vice. So, but nobody's talking about that. Why isn't CNN picking that up? Big conspiracy here.
My question is was it me from high school?
I think it was. This is a show all about professional wrestling. We like to have fun here. Not your traditional pro wrestling show. We discuss all different types of things, but primarily around professional wrestling and the wackiness and the love for the sport that exists out there. And we're heating up. We're going into Wrestlemania season. By the way, the New York Post wrote this story. So again, I would love to see another source for this, but it seems like it is true. There's a lot going on, man. Wrestlemania season. We're 2 weeks away from Rich and I coming close to collapsing because my God, we're gonna have a ton of wrestling to cover in 2 weeks. Rich is not here next week. Rich is taking a sabbatical. You're going to go get your degree in knitting, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that what we're doing?
I've decided to shift focus, and instead of no more podcasting, I'm just going to be a championship speed knitter. It's a passion of mine.
That's a great passion to have. No, Rich is not going to be here next week, but we will have possibly something cool planned for you.
I hope so. If it's what you texted me before, then I'm 100% on board.
Okay, good. For it. Good. I'm happy for that. We'll figure that out. But we're gonna have stuff coming out next week. Also, I'm gonna be doing some solo stuff also next week, just to put some content out there. By the way, we have 2 interviews posted. We have Garrett Gonzalez. I did an hour. We were supposed to do 15 minutes, Garrett and I. We ended up doing an hour and a half of just talking about professional wrestling and WCW and the collapse of WCW, commemorating the 20-year demise of WCW. And I also had a nice quick 18-minute interview with Brian Alvarez discussing just what it was like to cover it at that time. I'm still going down this interesting rabbit hole of listening to the archived Wrestling Observer Live episodes that are from 2000 and 2001 2002 that broadcasted on IATA. I think a lot of people don't remember this. I discovered The Observer because of IATA and live audio wrestling up in Toronto. Mojo 660, talk radio for men. That was the station that you would listen to live audio wrestling to in the year 2001, 2000. And I discovered, wrestling radio and wrestling podcasts in that manner. I believe live audio wrestling was the first one that archived their content every single week right after each episode online. And it was really revolutionary as far as content, on-demand content for pro wrestling goes on the internet, radio-based stuff. So I have those 2 awesome interviews up on our website, gfknetwork.com, or you can go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/MatmenPodcast. Check it out. Always a lot of fun having those guys on. And of course, we're going to be doing so much more with a lot of the Observer guys. I will spoil this for you.
Sure.
Originally, the final day of that interview was going to be Dave Meltzer. We had scheduled it that Dave was coming on to talk about, the end of WCW. It was just scheduling nightmare. We had to reschedule like 6 times. He was so busy, and he had a lot of big stories last week to break. So there were times that he's like, hey, I'm available. And we were just corresponding, and by the time we got ready to go live, it just didn't happen. So I promise you guys, Dave will be on in the coming weeks. We will do something with Dave. We'll do something cool with Dave at some point. But that was going to be the big surprise that we were going to have Dave on to talk about, WCW, which I still will have him on to talk about it because it doesn't matter when we record that. It's still an interesting topic to talk about. Rich, absolutely. A lot of wrestling news this week.
Yes, sir.
You take the lead here. Where do you want to head to? I know you said you wanted to start off with news, so you go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start from the notes. Thank you again, Mr. Gonzo, MG Geek, for providing us these beautiful notes every week, and thanks to Papa Jonzo for doing all the graphic work and all that stuff. Apparently, RoadDog got hospitalized with a heart attack the other day. Yeah. We wish him the best. 51 years old, I think.
Yeah, 51, suffered a heart attack. They were very concerned for his kidney functions right now. I have not heard anything negative, and that's a positive, right?
Absolutely. I think let's not do the survey so far, but let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
You did Peacock, right?
I did. I had this. I subscribed like 2 weeks ago, but I really don't have a device that I use regularly that has the Peacock app on it. I use a Fire Stick in all the rooms, and unfortunately, it is not on the Fire Stick yet. It was supposed to be there for Fastlane. And for whatever reason, it's not. Now the new goal is WrestleMania, but you're alienating 33% of your set-top box, those smart set-top box device usage. Not very good. So you go into what you were going to say, because I have a lot to say about Peacock.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you how you felt about it, because I did the same thing. Like, I got the email alert from WWE Network saying, like, hey, no more network as of, I think, April 5th. Sign up for Peacock. So I signed up. There was like a special going on, so it ended up being like $4.99 a month or something like that.
For the commercial-free one?
No, for the regular one. I didn't realize there was like another tier, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me check this out. And dude, it's like legit every 3 minutes is like a commercial you could do nothing about.
Yeah.
And it's not even, it's like TV commercials, it's like McDonald's commercials and all this nonsense. So then I was like, all right, is there a commercial free tier? And it was like a penny extra with the deal that I signed up for. So it was like $5 a month. And I'm going in there. Listen, I like a lot of the shows on there, whatever. When you go to the WWE stuff, I feel like I'm experiencing a level of frustration that I feel like should not exist, because they got the network to a place where it was pretty fantastic after like 10 years, right?
Yep.
Really good interface. You could find everything easily. You could search for everything easily. And then the Peacock stuff, it looked like, for me, I don't know about you, but it felt like they were trying to stuff 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was very vocal about when they announced that they were going to Peacock. I was very vocal, and I said, listen, guys, let's let this play out first before we start talking about how this is terrible, right? Let's let it play out, because I hate to jump to a conclusion before I see the result. I think a lot of people like to speculate, but I don't like doing that when it comes to something like this, because your words matter, and obviously, if I'm sitting down and I'm saying what a piece of crap this app is going to be, and I have no confidence in it, that doesn't really mean much if I haven't used the service. Well, I have used the service now. I ended up using it on my Vizio TV, because I have like a newer Vizio 4K in my bedroom that has all the smart apps. My Peacock is on there. I got to tell you, hot dump. I mean, it's a hot piece of shit. Hot basura, man. Yeah, big time. Hot basura. It's just sitting in there.
That sucks, dude.
It's not good. Listen, all the other stuff. I could watch The Office all I want, right? All right, cool. Suits all I want, fine. But now that you have a sports, look at it as a sport. Don't look at it as a TV property. When you're saying it's, when you go under WrestleMania and it's season 36, what the F does that mean?
It may be the way that the algorithm inside the app works, because if you're looking at a TV show, you're like, cool, season 3. But for the WWE stuff, it's very interesting, because it seems like all the content got automatically slotted into the seasons, where there's certain things that I do like about it, because like the current stuff is like right there, so you don't really have to do too much digging for it.
A ton of current stuff.
But the older stuff, I found myself having like a little bit of a hard time trying to navigate and trying to find. And on top of that, didn't they announce that they're taking off questionable content?
Yes,
this week. Okay,
let's get in. Hold on, let me backtrack a little bit about the on how the layout is.
Okay.
It doesn't. WWE finally. I mean, you said 10 years, right? And people are going to say, well, WWE Network launched in 2014, right? But the development of this, you have to remember. Do you remember how long it was delayed?
Oh, dude.
Do you remember that?
I want to say in like the early Matmen's,
2012.
It was about like go time, and then they couldn't get it together because this was talked about like. So I graduated college in 2004, right? At that point, a friend of mine was working for WWE, and what she was doing was they were full-blown digitizing every single tape asset that they had, right? And if you can imagine the number of tapes that they had to get to the point to put it on the network, you can understand why it took such a long time.
So listen to this. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
In September 2011, WWE officially announced plans to launch the WWE Network in 2012 as a pay TV channel. WWE then conducted a survey asking people if they would be willing to pay for the WWE Network if it was a premium channel. In an email sent to WWE fans who might be interested in WWE Network, WWE surveyed fans for their thoughts about the WWE Network airing pay-per-views to subscribers for no additional fee. The survey also noted that it would feature repeats of Raw and SmackDown, as well as footage from WCW, ECW, NWA, XFL, which never happened, AWA, and WWE movies, which never happened either, would also make it into the lineup. The original programming also noted in the survey. So it was they chose the name WWE Network in October 2011. So 10 years of development into this, right? 10 years.
Pretty crazy when you think about it.
And you were right on the nose with that. Yeah, pretty crazy. So they pretty much, the last update really fixed a lot of the issues. The content was full. And when I was told about the Peacock deal, I was told that it was going to be a seamless transition. There's multiple options available. One option was when you use the WWE Network, because they really were worried about if you just let the network go away and you bring all the content to Peacock, are the 1 point whatever million subscribers going to re-sign up? And we know the answer to that, and it's no.
Yeah.
Whenever you remove a service, if listen, it's a turnkey operation. You're getting checks in the mail every month. A lot of these people don't even realize they're paying for this, or they forgot about it, or it's too much of a hassle to cancel. So now you told everybody, go to Peacock and sign up. WWE Network's gone. There's a good portion not going to sign up. And two, how much of that content is not there?
Oh, absolutely. You know what the thing is like that? I think it's a broader issue because for you and I, we have to sign up for it because that's how we can access stuff and talk about it, right? I feel like there's a big section of pro wrestling fans that watch nothing but pro wrestling. And I feel like that's a vocal minority, but we see that on social media where like these folks are going, well, I don't give a shit about Suits. I don't give a shit about The Office. I just want to watch the WWE Network.
I thought that was a silly argument at first. Now I understand because listen, first of all, it's actually still a silly argument. You don't need to watch it, right?
Right.
You could just navigate to WWE and you're in that interface. I think the interface is wonky. I don't like the interface, but something you touched on before, the removal of inappropriate content, right? What was the word they used? Not inappropriate. What was the word you said?
Offensive. I
offensive content.
May have said offensive or whatever, but
this is scary.
Two things that I immediately like. Oh no, those Dudley Boys matches in ECW,
the promos.
The promos, which were kept on the network, by the way, and they're very dirty.
And words we don't hear anymore.
Exactly. And a lot of late 90s Shawn Michaels stuff I feel like is going to be eliminated completely. Possibly a lot of Attitude Era stuff, that was just like borderline, like choppy, pee.
So here's where I stand on this. I'm totally against censorship. Okay.
Right.
Totally against it. You have an option as a service provider and as a viewer. Service provider, you have the option of adding a parental control button where you could now hide content that may be considered offensive. You have parental controls that you could put in place. I'm not saying I enjoy hearing racist or terrible, heinous terms. However, I do think it's very dangerous when you start editorializing this type of content. Because when you use the word offensive, that line budges and it moves. We know what the rules are for over-the-air programming, right? We know that cable, even though you are allowed, because it's a premium channel, to do whatever you want, to say whatever you want, we know that cable adheres to advertisers, and they have their own set guidance. We've had this guidance in place since the conception of cable television. Now you're telling us that things that cable TV have aired, you are now telling us that you find it offensive. And it doesn't fit your community guideline or your company guideline. I think this is very dangerous. And again, it's not there to protect. I'm not there to protect a wrestler calling another person the F word, right? It's not about that. It's about how far does the line go, right? Where do you start cutting things off? Because once you don't have a definition and you just label things offensive, that line pivots. They've removed WrestleMania, what was it? WrestleMania 6 was not on there. The Piper thing where he painted half his face black, right?
Oh boy.
That's off. But you know what you're not remembering? Mattel put out a commemorative version of that.
That's right. Yeah.
So where was, you know what I mean? Like, these are things that we need to be very careful about. And again, I am not protecting hate speech. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be offended. What I'm telling you is it's your right to be offended, but it's also out there, and we need to also remember that these are things that happened, and these are conversations that happened. But by eliminating these, and it's not just about wrestling, right? Books, any kind of literature, any kind of television. When you start erasing these things, you forget the time that it happened. The Jeffersons would never be able to air today. All in the Family would never be able to air today. But should they be removed in the eco space of content? No, I don't think so. I don't think removal of content should be a thing that we ever talk about. I think it's very, very dangerous.
Could I jump in?
Yeah,
with my own whimsical theory about this, which I've said for many years?
Yes, please.
Self-censorship. I'm a fan of self-censorship.
So am I. I'm fine with that.
I know myself. I know I'm not going to watch. This is just an example. I'm going to cast a wide net here. I know I'm not going to watch like racially infused stuff, Yes. That's just me, right? And a lot of other people, I self-censor that. I'm not going to say, yo, man, this shouldn't be on TV. Some kid's going to watch it. Guess what? It's your job to make sure your kid doesn't watch it. The other thing that goes along with that is this kind of the bigger issue here is it's twofold. The bigger issue here is, one, it's almost like self-censorship is taken out of the picture. And I know it's wrestling, but that leads to a bigger issue where it's like, no, please, corporate America, tell me what is censored and what is not so I can live my life, which is very bizarre. It's like that weird like brother's keeper thing on social media where everybody's telling on each other. The other thing is there is an argument that says wrestling got away with all this stuff for how many years because people look at it and go, it's just wrestling, right? Okay. And now that it's part of NBC on the Peacock thing, it's like, well, we have to be more concerned about what is being said and what isn't because that's how we run our business. So it's very bizarre if you think about it.
Listen, that's just me. I think we need to remember these things happened. And I don't think anybody is watching. Here's a great example, right? And here's where it gets a little dangerous. Bachelor 3000 brought up a great point. They got rid of the segment where Vince called Cena the N-word with an A, okay? Let's talk about it. They removed it. Do you know, I saw 2 articles about this. Online. I saw 2 articles. You know what they said in the article? Peacock removes segment where Vince McMahon calls Booker T the N-word. That was the actual headline. And I go, you know what? They never watched it. They never saw this. That's not what happened. Not that it was acceptable by today's standards, or even back then when it was done. I don't think it was a cheap pop. It was weird. It was uncomfortable. But regardless, should it be removed? My answer is no. I don't think it should be removed. I don't think any content like that should be erased from history. We should reflect back and say, you know what? We sucked. You know, you're going to remove the Bubba Ray Dudley promo at Heatwave or whatever the pay-per-view that was, where he calls the guy in the Hawaiian shirt, a very derogatory term, or refers to teaching a sexual act to the 14-year-old daughter in the crowd. I mean, listen, there's an argument for it for sure, but I fall under, I don't think we should allow a corporation to determine based on their guidelines what we should hear. I don't like that.
I agree with that.
And it's their content. They can do whatever they want. But I also have the opinion of I'm not a fan of censorship in that matter. I think we should, again, self-censorship, reflection of what you want to say, what you don't want to say. That's a whole separate scenario. Your guidelines in life, very different.
There's also the argument that it's performance art, right? Which is a huge thing.
Well, that's where it gets dangerous. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's very dangerous too. And let's use Bubba Ray as an example, right? Like those very incendiary.
I don't want to use Bubba as an example. I don't want to use him.
All right, okay. But I'm just saying, like those ECW promos where he's calling people out in the crowd. He's a character, right? He's there to drive people crazy and make them hate him, right? He's doing a job. He's paid to be a character. He's paid to do that gimmick, right? Just like an actor on a TV show. If it was the guy doing that, that's a different story.
Very different story.
Of course, all that stuff should be removed. Yeah. But also the logic is, if they're removing this stuff from the WWE Network, what's to stop Netflix from removing, let's say, a movie like Django Unchained or like Hateful Eight, which are very, very gnarly in their language.
Let's take it even more. Let's take it even further. American History X. Right?
Okay, there you go.
By the way, a movie that I cannot watch.
Very tough to watch, yeah.
It is very difficult to watch. It was difficult to watch when I watched it when it came out, and I can't watch it. But I do recognize that it's a very powerful film. That movie, that's an extreme, but at what point does film and cinema now start getting erased? And should it? I don't think so.
Again, bigger issue. They just recently removed a lot of Dr. Seuss stuff because of like the time it was written in and the beliefs that people had at the time, stricken from history. It's a very fascinating argument. And I feel like in American culture in the last 100 years, we go up and down with censorship. Lenny Bruce in the 50s, wasn't he blackballed and fined an exorbitant amount of money for dropping the F-bomb on stage?
Yeah. Lenny Bruce was arrested, I believe. Right. Steve Allen too, I believe. Steve Allen at one point too was getting in a lot of trouble.
And then you went into the free love era of the 60s and 70s and the debaucherous hedonistic 80s, and then that became like the 90s babies. And I feel like those decades you just had like more extreme to the birth of daytime television, which is completely raucous. I feel like anybody who is not, it's a generational thing, like you and I remember like Morton Downey Jr. And Richard Bay and like the early days of Springer, where like that stuff was bonkers, completely trash and nasty, and it was the product of like the decades, and now in the 20-teens into the early 2020s, censorship is back in a big way, and with certain things, absolutely, it's fine, great, but to take away self-censorship, I think, is a big issue. Yeah,
I think so. And with that said,
I
hope you guys, we didn't bore you with this, but I think it's an important thing to talk about. And I truly believe that most people are on the side of we don't need censorship. We don't need you to protect our delicate ears we are smart enough to determine what we want to listen to and what we find offensive and what should be deemed offensive. I think majority of people are in that corner. I think a lot of people don't want to vocalize that. And we'll see what happens. I mean, we may have a turnaround here where people are like, guys, enough of this. You're going after Dr. Seuss. Your standards are very different today than they were 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You can't look at history with today's eyes. You have to reflect back and recognize, like, man, people were really crappy. Even the good people were crappy. That's just how it is. And people will look back to us. Listen, same thing. They're going to, in 40 years, dude, somebody's going to find the show. And somebody's going to say, man, you know what? These guys were good, but their takes on this is not appropriate. It happens. That's just how it is.
Oh, it's going to happen. I forgot what I was... I had this conversation with my wife last week, and I was like, in about 40 years, they're going to say, like, this is very inappropriate. And I forgot what it was. I wish I had it. I wish I had it in the at the forefront of my frontal lobe.
Well, it's never appropriate to take your weenie, drop your pants, show your weenie, and say happy birthday to your father-in-law.
Is that what you did?
That's what I do every year. And I drop it right, and I stick it right in the cake. That's how it works.
Yeah. Flaccid or fully
flaccid, dude.
Fully
Come
functional.
On. Come on. It's a family party. It's a friendly family party. It's not getting raunchy here.
Right.
But
you want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on. All right, talk to me about those WrestleMania tickets, man.
Okay. I've been doing some digging here. Okay. I don't know what MG Geek meant by ticket sale updates, so I don't know if he knows what I know. So I'm going to be very careful with what I'm going to say here because I have not been able to confirm it, but I have been asked this question by numerous people covering wrestling. So let me just put it out there. They did close to sell out for both nights, okay? I think last week when I did the tally, it's probably less now, obviously, but there was about 500 to 600 tickets available for each night.
Okay.
However, I am now under the impression that they did not release all 25,000 tickets.
Okay.
And that many were held back for corporate giveaways and promotional reasons and things like that.
I thought you were going to say religious reasons.
Religious reasons. So I've heard a number. I'm going to speculate on that number. I'll tell you maybe 50-50 ticket sales. Half the tickets were released for each night. Now, I don't know. I have not confirmed this at all, okay? And I'm not going to go into who brought it up to me, how many people brought it, but a lot of people have been digging about the ticket sales. I am now nearly 100% confident that they did not release the majority of those tickets to the public.
Okay.
All right? I believe that about 10 to 12,000 were released to the public for each night. And the rest, I don't know what they're doing with the rest. But there will be 25,000 people in that building.
They're going to put them into t-shirt cannons and just shoot them at people.
Just shoot them. You got a ticket and you got a ticket. Comes with the shot too. The cannon, the ticket's wrapped in the shot. Boom, there you go. Now you're vaccinated. I find that interesting. Normally, for anybody in the ticketing business, you follow this, you guys probably know, but majority of events, a lot of tickets are held back to give out. Especially like a WrestleMania when you have like 70,000 people in a building. Like 20,000 of those tickets are corporate sponsors, advertisers. Like how many tickets is Peacock, NBC going to want for WrestleMania, right?
Right.
Think about that.
A lot of corporate stuff, right?
Right? Or let's say Snickers is advertising. What are you going to tell Snickers? Here's 50 tickets? No, you're going to give them a couple thousand tickets to bring their people to Snickers, their clients to Snickers Mania. You got corporate clients, you got partners, you got network partners, you got, between Fox, NBC, other corporate partners, advertisers, all this stuff.
USA.
You're giving away a lot of tickets. Now, I don't know what that number is. I don't even know if this is what MJ Geek was talking about, so I may have just opened my mouth on the subject that I shouldn't have, because I have not confirmed anything. So I don't know. I got to find out what the ticket situation is. But if you go online and you go through Ticketmaster, you're going to see there's a couple hundred tickets left per night. I haven't checked since last week, so last week's number was like 500 to 600 each night. But they're going to have people in that building. They're going to sell. They're leaving the Thunderdome. I believe everything is getting taped now. as we speak for WrestleMania. What's their pre-tape schedule? Pre-tape schedule, Raw, SmackDown, and Hall of Fame are all being taped this coming week.
Okay.
So, because they got to move.
Right. They got to build that new structure at it's the Yingling Center?
Yes. Yeah, Yingling Center is getting the show. This was a decision they made unhappily. They wanted to go back to touring after WrestleMania, and I believe they're like a month or two away from this. I don't think the Yingling Center is going to be a very long-term thing.
Right. So it's very interesting too, because I remember last year, as soon as it's pretty much been a year since the world shut down, right?
Yeah.
And folks were asking us immediately, like, when do you think live events are going to happen? And both of us were like November, December, and now it doesn't even look like it's going to happen until like July, maybe.
Well, WWE
August?
had originally said July. Remember, we broke that story. WWE had originally said July. They had locations already set for July. By the time they got there, they were advised heavily not to do July. So then we went to September, and it was going to be Texas and Florida. And when September hit, their numbers went up. So that put the kibosh on it. And then we went into the winter season where numbers kind of went up again. And now we're in this decline. The vaccine is there, obviously. Millions of people, I think almost 1/3 of the country has already been vaccinated to some extent.
Yeah, you got
a little under 1/3. I'm done. I got my second one. By the way, I got the second Pfizer. I was very sick for about 10 hours and then magically just disappears. So it's fine, right? I'm done. But I did it because for a whole number of reasons. I feel like I always have to. People are very surprised that I got it.
Because you come off as an anti-vaxxer?
Is that true? Because somebody said that to me. Is that no? I'm not being so serious. Somebody said that to me. No, on Friday. On Friday, somebody said that to me.
Like online shocked. While you were waiting for the vaccine.
No,
was like,
yes.
I'm surprised to see you here, kiddo.
Andrew,
you anti-vaxxer.
What the hell are you doing here? No. At my job, somebody was like, "You got it?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Huh? I'm surprised. I didn't think you would get it." I was like, "You just made an assumption of who I am." I don't know. I gave that anti-vaxxer vibe out, but
you just want to start kissing everybody on the lips and hands again.
Make it, dude. Tongue. When I see you, I'm gonna slobber all over you.
What was the joke that we had? When the world opens up, you're gonna just start saying hi to people by mandible clawing them.
Yes, just like this.
Fingers in the mouth.
Fingers in the mouth. So live shows resuming. I would say, God. I would say 100% for SummerSlam. All right.
Okay, sure.
Okay, if I'm gonna say 100% of something, if we don't have a live crowd at SummerSlam, I will eat. What am I eating?
You gotta stop making these bets.
I gotta eat.
You know what?
I'm gonna eat. You know what? I'm gonna eat paper. I'll eat paper live on the air. I'll eat my daughter's school assignment on paper.
Well, that's not good for your daughter.
No. Sorry, I did my homework when my dad ate it on his radio show.
You know what? Not anti-vaxxer. I feel like it was COVID denier.
COVID denier.
That's the joke. You're not a COVID denier or an anti-vaxxer. I just want to put that out there. It's just a joke that I say about you. I'm surprised that somebody else said that about you too.
Yeah. So I think by that point we'll be better.
Half capacity for SummerSlam. I'll say that.
Vince does not want to do anything at half capacity. By the way, he doesn't need to either, because guess what? UFC with a 261, April 24th, live from Jacksonville, sold out 15,000 tickets. Wow. Sold out in a day.
Well, Florida and Texas are other planets at this point, right? No offense to anybody from Florida or from Texas, but every time I see pictures of people I know in Florida, it's like another bizarre world where everybody's partying on the beach, no masks. I think they had like some kind of spring break like nastiness last week where the weather was beautiful and everybody's just drooling on each other. And I'm kind of like,
it got so bad, dude, that Florida had to Miami put an 8 p.m. curfew. That's how bad. Think about that. How bad does it have to get for Florida to put a curfew on?
That is true. That place goes like, people say like New York is a city that never sleeps, but like if you've ever been down to like Florida when it's like party season, like forget it, man. It's very loud.
Very.
So, like, Jacksonville is a good place for it. Listen, if you want to go outside without a mask, that's on you. Me personally, like, that's on you. Like, maintain your distance. But I think Jacksonville is a good place for USC to do that because they can get such a big crowd, and maybe Dana White just wants to watch the world burn in that regard.
I'm curious how that's going to go, but I'm very, WWE could run essentially in Florida, could run in Texas, could run numerous states. They're holding off for a bunch of reasons right now, but after WrestleMania, things are going to heat up. I think when the closer we are to the end of May, the more realistic these conversations are going to become as far as, okay, like I'll give you an example. I've been told by certain people that there is no way in hell WWE is not running New York in September. Okay? I'll tell you that. I could tell you that is that will play a big part in the New York is back thing that WWE is going to participate in. Because remember, what's coming in September? Broadway's back 100% in September in New York. The Garden already, they have about 10% capacity. That's going to get bumped up in a couple of weeks to 25%. They're doing 20% at Citi Field and at Yankee Stadium. So these things are getting piled on, and I think the WWE will want to run the Garden at full capacity, which is very realistic by September. So listen, it's months away, obviously, but we're getting closer to that moment.
Sure. Moving on.
Yes.
Talk to me about Andrade.
Andrade is released. They gave him his full release, no 90-day non-compete, nothing. He's free to go. Very interesting.
You think Charlotte pulled those strings? I mean, like, that's very gossipy, but do you think she was like the catalyst to say, listen, like, I'm your number one champ right here. Like, I'm the business at this point for you know what I mean? In a certain regard, let my guy go, cut the strings. Don't do X, Y, and Z like you do to everybody else. Otherwise, guess who's next? I'm leaving too. She could have done that, right?
So I asked about this, and I was told that the truth lies somewhere in between. She said very little, and it was the full-blown, I'm walking out if you don't release him. That whole thing that everybody was spreading online. There's no truth. She didn't go and threaten WWE to the way that people are imagining.
Right,
but it was a conversation, for sure, on releasing him. There was a real conversation to release him the way that they want to release him. I'm very curious, and I was told why maybe they did what they did on how they released them. I'll tell you off the air.
Oh, please, okay.
Because I don't want people speculating on this. Again, it's nothing. I have learned, and since us bringing the show to F4W and the Observer website, I have to be very careful on things that I'm saying sometimes because I'm getting in trouble.
Okay.
not by F4W or Observer. They've never censored the show once, but we're talking about censorship. There's a lot more eyeballs on the product now that we're putting out. And I want to say when I have not confirmed something, I'm going to say I have not confirmed it, but I believe this is the direction. So I believe the truth lies somewhere in the middle here, based on the little pieces that I've been told. But Andrade is free to go, and now the question is, where does Andrade go?
That's a very interesting question. Also, you know what I've learned from doing this show under the Observer?
Yes.
There will invariably be two questions in every comment on any video we make. And
where's Brian and Dave?
Yep. Where's Brian? Who are these guys? Where's Denise?
Where's Denise?
The Andrade thing is just interesting, man, because, like, where does he go is a big speculative talking point, right? Like, I think as a fan, people want to see him go to AEW with Thea Trinidad, right? And kind of redo the gimmick.
But she's not coming.
She's not coming. She can't, right? Like, she signed a deal with something which prevents her from signing with any wrestling company, right?
Very strange.
I don't even know. I remember reading that this week where it was like some kind of sports thing or some kind of endorsement thing where she, for a limited time, can't be part of, like, Ring of Honor or AEW, let's say.
Yeah.
He could go back to Mexico and be La Sombra again. He could join Roosh in Ring of Honor, which I thought was going to happen the other night, honestly, because they had like an event. He could go to MLW. He could go to Japan. Like, where do you want to see Andrade?
I honestly, and I've been very vocal, and you and both of us have been, that where AEW doesn't fall in the trap of taking everybody from WWE, right? Yeah. Listen, it's a very difficult decision to make, right? When you're basing your business on, there's numerous reasons, right? One, you want to get the best talent possible to elevate your product. Two, now you're also playing with the perception of you don't want to grab too many of these WWE guys. Right, because then you become then that whole TNA conversation happens where you're just signing people to sign them. But I think fortunately for Andrade, he's very much recognized as a tremendous talent.
Oh yeah,
and he would fit in great on the AEW side with Penta and Phoenix and Omega, him and Hangman, him and I mean, just he could have a match with everybody there because he's so well rounded. But him debuting there can't be like a Rusev situation, right? You would have to debut him in a very different caliber. And I do think his first feud should be probably Penta and kind of rehash that style of wrestling a little bit for him.
I honestly do think, like, if you're for me, the program for him and AEW, him and Ray Phoenix. And Ray Phoenix, I think, could put on classics every week, and that's a testament to both those dudes. I already feel that way about Ray Phoenix, but remember a couple of years ago when Andrade was doing that feud with Mysterio?
Unbelievable.
They knocked those matches out of the park with limited TV time.
I think it was 18 times they wrestled in some capacity.
Really?
Mixed tag, whatever, full match. They really did a great job with them, but really the problem for him was he lost his biggest advocate, and that was Heyman.
Yeah.
Heyman was a big pusher of him and Humberto and all those guys. Aleister Black, Keith Lee, big proponents of them. Aleister Black is another one. Bachelor 3000 in the chat room has a question about Keith Lee and Aleister Black, which we'll go into later. But I think the story is more about what do you do with Aleister Black? His wife's gone. His wife left the company.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, Tia Trinidad, Zelina Vega, his wife left the company. So, if Tommy End showed up in AEW, would he have some sort of impact? I don't know, to be honest, because right now he's become such a different person from that Tommy End character, where Aleister Black really became all character.
Right. And listen, that entrance is money. Like that style, the way they kept him strong for so long, that was all money.
NXT,
again, but
baby.
That's up to the person. Like, what if after Mania season, Aleister Black re-debuts on NXT?
Yeah, that's where I want him to go.
Yeah, that's a great move because then he could have those feuds with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor, and Karrion Kross. Yeah, Karrion Kross.
Exactly. But Balor's coming back up, by the way. That's the plan.
They're doing the flip.
Balor comes up, maybe one more match with Karrion Kross. Karrion beats him again. And then here comes another spooky guy to kind of fill in the blanks.
Sure. Okay. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Good.
Are you cool with that?
I am, yeah.
So we also got Kane and the Great Khali announced for the Hall of Fame.
All right. A lot of people... Well, who do we have so far, right? Actually, let's pull this up. Yeah. 2021 WWE Hall of Fame. So I want to see who's announced because I know we got some from 2020. Here we go. You ready? So we got JBL, right? Cool. Bulldog and Liger for 2020.
Awesome.
Which, by the way, you know what? Why can't Liger show up and do one more match in WWE? Why can't he? He could have a WrestleMania match. You know what? Here's the deal. Have Liger show up in some sort of schmaz battle royal and he could say he had a WrestleMania match. What? Just let me fucking have that. Come on. I'm whispering. All right. So those are the three that WWE recognizes right now.
Okay.
Then here's the groups. We got the NWO going in.
Yeah.
So the NWO is going to be Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hogan, and I believe X-Pac?
Yeah. Sean Waltman.
So Sean Waltman will be a double recipient. Hogan, a double recipient. Hall and I believe Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, all double recipients here, except for X-Pac. This is his first one. And you got the Bellas. The Bellas are going in the Hall of Fame.
Great.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bellas, however, are getting ready to return back to action. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago on the show and nobody gave a crap, and now all of a sudden people care. Nikki Bella and Brie have been working very, very, very hard. It is X-Pac's second. I'm so sorry. I did say that. He went in with DX. I'm an idiot. I said it was his second, then I took it away, and I said it's his first. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
How do you think that conversation went with the Bella twins?
Come back. We're going to put the tag titles on you.
Really?
Yep. There you go.
All right. What was Nikki Bella's reaction to the new deal?
Hey, I want the titles, but remember, you could look at them, but I don't want anybody touching it, even if it's Nia Jax. There you go. Is that good?
It's melting. Yeah.
She melted. Yeah. But no. I'm so sorry. Dude, that's the real doll that John Cena made of her.
Oh, boy.
That talks, and the batteries just ran out. I'm sorry. That's not really Nikki Bella. We know that.
He's got that technology.
Yeah, John Cena's a robot. He just keeps replicating.
Is that his deal? He just spawns other versions of stuff he likes?
John Cena is a very clumsy human, like, as a design, right? The original Cena was very clumsy, and he would just constantly get hurt. Very clunky robot where he just constantly gets damaged and blows up, and Vince has a replicator. He just keeps making Cena, but every version of Cena that comes out is a little off. It's a tiny bit off. The replicator doesn't do 100%, so it just keeps evolving. Now, like, we've entered like a weirdo John Cena where he's just like a regular big dude that nobody knows what he's from. He's kind of morphing into Marky Mark, right?
I don't know, man.
That's what's happening.
I feel like you mean Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, he's becoming Mark Wahlberg more and more.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg is a one-trick pony, whereas like Cena's got like such a weird like vibe to him. Like, did you watch the Suicide Squad trailer?
No.
He's great in it. And you know what?
Good.
They're giving him an 8-episode series on HBO as Peacemaker, like as that character, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, by the way, on HBO, right, which is a Turner property, and that's why on AEW you saw a John Cena commercial pop up during AEW, which is so bizarre.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Can you imagine if HBO was like, hey, listen, you got to do a spot on AEW to promote this? He can't, obviously.
He can't. But you never know. Like, what are the terms of John Cena's deal with WWE? You know?
He's under a full contract.
Okay.
Yeah, he's under a full blown contract. But John Cena just slowly getting replicated and melting down. And like the last version, Vince is like, we need Cena. So he presses the button. Here comes John Cena, but he sounds like Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons.
I'm here.
Era, I'm here. You can't see me, Era.
You cannot see me.
He actually turns into Fred Norris from Howard Stern doing his John F. Kennedy. Actually, Ted Kennedy. Era, I couldn't pass a bar, and so couldn't John. Era. That's my Kennedy impersonation. Thank you.
That's pretty good. I have a very dirty Kennedy impression that I'll do for you off the air.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So Molly Holly is also going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Molly Holly's going into the Hall of Fame. Molly Holly, Eric Bischoff, which very well deserved. Yes. I think if there's anybody that deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, it is Eric Bischoff. No question about it. Kane, great. You know what? Well deserved Hall of Fame, right? Well deserved. Yeah. And of course, the great Khali going in the Hall of Fame. I mean, should Khali be in the Hall of Fame?
Listen, if Drew
carries in the Hall of Fame, is Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
I think so too.
I want to say he was the first celebrity inducted into the Hall of Fame.
No, was he?
In the new style that they've been doing in the last few years, where it's like they do the wrestlers. I think they have like the posthumous, then they have the celebrity, and then they have the Warrior Award.
Yes. Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Bob says Pete's banned. Pete's banned from the MLB Hall of Fame, not the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't think Bob knows. So I'll explain it for people. The reason why Pete Rose was an instrumental part of wrestling is because for whatever reason, they decided that at WrestleMania it became a thing like 2-3 times that Kane would tombstone Pete Rose.
So fascinating, right?
Like I feel like somebody from the Yankees booked that. I don't know. I mean, it's such a bizarre thing. Coco Beware is in there, so anyone could be. Yeah, Coco Beware's in the Hall of Fame, but Coco Beware had a bird.
Oh, yeah. What was the bird's name?
I don't remember. What was the bird's name?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
Somebody knows. All right. So Hall of Fame. All right, whatever. Kali, Kane. I know that they have a couple more that's going to be announced. That's whatever. It's fine. You know, he's a giant. Kali is an anomaly of a human being. Nobody looks like that. So I get why.
Well, also, like, he probably had the most ticket sales per person, like specifically for him when they would do those India tours.
Yeah, he's a big star there, dude.
Yeah. Like, I think there was an interview with Jinder not too long ago where he was like, when they were in India, Kali was treated like a god among men, basically.
Well, what's hysterical is when Jinder won the title. Do you remember when Kali came out and Kali grabbed the belt from him and held the belt up? Do you remember that little fight that they had over the title? I have no idea why he did it, but you know why he did it? So he could be on the front page of every newspaper in India, and that's what happened. They had a picture of Kali holding the belt, and it said Jinder Mahal, WWE champion.
Fascinating.
Let's
see, where else are we going here? Andrade. Let's see, we got AEW averaging over 1 million viewers this week with within 7-day viewership.
Yeah, so this is interesting. This is something that we've discussed prior back, where I was talking to somebody on the TV side, and they were like, yeah, you know, AEW, they're doing decent, but their ratings haven't gone up tremendously. And so I asked about this a while ago, and somebody told me, he's like, yeah, they've actually had 1.4 million viewers for an episode of Dynamite. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I looked at this, and now it's coming out that they are averaging over 1 million viewers a week per 7-day average. That has to do with digital viewership, DVR viewership, later submissions. And this is North American numbers, by the way. We're not counting Europe and all the other distribution partners. Like Canada, the numbers are all over the place. I have yet to find decent Canadian numbers. If somebody has it, send it my way. But they're doing over 1 million viewers, which is fine. NXT is not doing those kind of numbers, I'll tell you that. But I am curious what Raw and SmackDown do, because I've heard that there are episodes of SmackDown that go up very high. As far as, like, I'm not talking about 7-day average, but I'm saying like eyeballs on the product at some point. It's like 5 million eyeballs a week.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not
across like all platforms.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I just
got groaning about.
People.
Did the second shot kick in more?
Everything is violent.
Right now? You're gonna look like Emil from the end of RoboCop when he gets covered in toxic goo.
No, I got yelled at by somebody watching the show right now. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. Let's take a minute here. I want to acknowledge Bob Hazelwood's joke in the chat room.
Yeah, what was it?
Which is effing. I can't believe I'm repeating this, but it got me. If Mahal was the one to reveal. If Jinder Mahal was the one to announce Kali in getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, it would have been called a Jinder reveal.
Very funny.
Terrible joke, but
very
I don't
funny
know why.
And terrible.
Terrible, great joke, man. Thanks, Bob.
What else? Where do you want to go?
You know what? Let's talk about WrestleMania. Are you excited for WrestleMania?
You know, does it feel like WrestleMania this year? Let me ask you that.
No. You know what? Like, I feel like every year, even last year, you know, because we knew it was going to be so different and unique.
Oh, by the way, Rich, are we going a little long today?
If you want, I mean, you know, we can do a little bit of this and then do Q&A.
You want to do like another 20 minutes and then Q&A? We could do that. All right, cool.
Fine.
We'll go a little long today, guys.
I hope you stop getting yelled at.
I just turned everything off, so I don't even know if I'm getting yelled at anymore.
So, as far as being excited, there's always a level of excitement. I like doing the show with you. I know we have a lot of coverage to do. As far as like the matches go, I'm a little men's on them, to be honest with you. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for a few of these matches, but there's a little trepidation, and I can't tell you the exact reason for that trepidation, but there is a little bit of like malaise that goes along with, for me personally.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the matches, right? Like, I'm looking at night 1 and night 2. There's nothing wrong with the matches. I think the story with this year really is going to be 1 year of pro wrestling without any audience. This is your end result. That's the story here. This is pro wrestling. This is WWE that has had 1 year to build a program that has had no audience to work off of. No live audience to feed off of. And this is what happens. You know, a Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair match should seem tremendous. Should be a big deal for a title match. This is Bianca Belair's breakthrough moment. They're very high on her. I think a majority of people are very high on her. The online community is very high on her. You could see based on tweets. She has a lot of that early Sasha Banks interest with viewership. I feel like she suffered from this because of the timing of everything, unfortunately. But I do think this is a big moment for her to be in a major match at WrestleMania. We also have Bobby Lashley, newly crowned WWE champion, should again be a big deal, right? Should be a tremendous deal that Bobby Lashley has this title. I'm actually a big fan of him having a title. Going against Drew McIntyre in the main event. By the way, has there been anybody in this company that has been built more like Hogan than Drew McIntyre this year?
Nobody.
There is nobody. This is their first attempt at doing it. And guess what? The dude never lost. He lost to two people, right? He lost to Randy Orton, and he lost to Roman Reigns. Two of the top guys in the business.
It works, man.
It worked. The booking from again, he suffered the most. He dethroned Brock Lesnar, won the title at WrestleMania, kept the title forever, won it back. Now he's in a feud with Bobby Lashley. The year revolved around building him like Hogan, and it worked and it didn't. You know?
Great babyface though. Like
tremendous.
Drew has been one of my favorite WWE babyfaces in a very long time.
Drew's the only babyface they've done proper by.
That's true.
Very long time.
They let him talk. They let him do his thing. I think he showed them that he can play ball with the kilt and the sword and the face paint stuff, you know, which I'm very on the fence about. I think it's a little too silly, but at the same time, it's WWE, so who cares?
Yeah.
This is one of the matches I'm kind of looking forward to. I don't think it's going to be like a long one. I think it's going to be like a 10-minute match.
I don't know. There's a crowd, so it depends. I mean, these entrances are going to be pretty gnarly. I'll tell you that. Oh,
that's right. They got the pirate ship.
Yeah. So you got that match. Now also Brown Bunny, Bad Bunny, Brown Bunny. Wasn't that a Harmony Korine movie with Chloe Sevigny where she performed a sexual act?
Do you say Chloe Sevigny?
Isn't that her name?
I always thought it was Savigny.
Savigny. I always thought it was Sevigny.
Really?
I've made her very French.
Like sommelier,
yeah. Bad Bunny with Damian Priest going up against The Miz with John Morrison. So they decided that Bad Bunny could wrestle on his own.
Great.
All right, whatever. You know, I'm digging him. I don't know why. I'm digging him.
A lot of personality.
He committed to showing up.
Yeah, he seems like, again, he wants to play ball. He seems like a fan. If you ever watch any of Bad Bunny's videos, he's always referencing wrestling and wearing wrestling shirts.
Loves wrestling.
Which is pretty cool. I think he's had a number of wrestlers in his videos, like Stone Cold, Ric Flair, Booker T.
Yeah.
I want to say a couple more. Imagine if he just potatoes everybody. Just all like right, he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna ball up my fist and swing for the fences.
I mean, Bad Bunny's like, all right, whatever. It doesn't bother me as much as it's bothering people. Cesaro, Seth Rollins, big match for Cesaro, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Didn't they do this this week?
Oh my god, dude! Did you see? I got to tell you, like, there was. Did you see the big swing moment in the back?
Yeah.
So okay, it looked good. It looked because I was like, how the hell is he going to drop him, right? Because he was going really fast. So he's spinning him, drops him. But during the spin, like I think he hit like number 11. Michael Cole goes, he's about to break his record, and then just drops him.
Oh boy!
I'm curious of was he supposed to and he miscounted, or did Michael Cole just determine something without running it by anybody and just blew the moment?
I think that's the WrestleMania moment.
That's the WrestleMania. He breaks the record for the swing. And
he does like 20.
And of course, your favorite match of the night, Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon have a match at WrestleMania. Mr. WrestleMania, Shane McMahon.
Yeah, I'm cool with this. I want it to be like a 5-minute match. And you know what? For some reason, I immediately pictured Braun getting electrocuted like PCO in like the electric chair for some reason. Like that's the end of the match. Like somehow Shane straps him to like a cartoony electric chair and just like sizzles him.
What if he does that and now he becomes like a zombie and he just does Shane's bidding until he gets zapped again so he could go back to normal?
I'd be super cool with that. You know what? Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. All right. You want to do night 2?
Yeah, night 2. It looks like your main event is going to be Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. With Paul Heyman, sorry. Not and Paul Heyman. With Paul Heyman versus...
I would love that.
Versus Edge and Daniel Bryan. I'm very much looking forward to this match.
Okay. Me too. However...
Okay. Go for it.
Edge is a heel?
Yes.
Okay. I guess. Daniel Bryan, Ultimate Babyface. I mean, they're essentially doing the WrestleMania 30 thing, right? Where Daniel Bryan's now in the main event, third wheel. I get why they did this, right? Because this, for the first time, whoever wins this match has a series of opponents.
Yes.
Right? Because if Daniel Bryan wins, obviously everybody's looking forward to that Edge match. Everybody's looking at a singles match with Roman Reigns because they're always great. Roman Reigns wins. You could have him and Edge alone. You could have him and Bryan alone. Edge wins the title. It's the same thing, right? You could and then you have everybody else that you could possibly feud with. They have handled this so well.
Yes.
I don't mind Daniel Bryan being interjected into this, and when I asked about it, they said there's a reason for this. I don't know what that reason is. Obviously, the reason most likely is going to lead to what happens after Mania, because you could have easily had Edge in that match, and he beats Roman, but then what happens? How do you continue this? So if you interject another person to take a pin, possibly, now you've opened that door up for future matches. Very much what happened with the Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch match.
Yes.
Unfortunately, however, Ronda left, and that derailed everything, essentially, as far as single matches for the title goes. Man, I do miss Ronda being back, not being there. I really do. I think she was a great addition. And, based on the numbers, you got to look at it. She really popped those ratings for a while for them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But you know what? I feel like there's that certain gatekeeping mentality with WWE where like certain calibers of talent that they love, they want to reserve for that live crowd, Yeah.
Yeah.
Brock's a good example. Ronda's a good example. Like even John Cena. Like, why should we bring these folks in when there's no people? Yeah.
And
I also feel like the no people thing is perfect for the Edge heel turn, because if there was a crowd, this dude would still get cheered beyond belief.
I think he's still going to get cheered at WrestleMania, though.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, you first show back and you get to see Edge. You're not going to boo him. However, I mean, it depends how they do it, right? What if he's just beating the crap out of, they just beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan. Yeah, both of them. And then they really make you feel like he's not going to win it. And he comes back and they just turn everything. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
You also have, going back to like the match itself, you have a very interesting dynamic. And I'm gonna piggyback off what you said. If Daniel Bryan wins, they can do the story of lightning striking twice. He beats 2 guys in the main event, gets the belt, right? And then he can have a proper reign as opposed to that reign that was cut short years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
What if that's his thing? What if he just performs really well in triple threat matches?
Amazing, right? I'm down with that. Yeah. I'm cool with him being the champ. I'm sure you are too. Edge winning, again, it's the story of a guy who's gone for almost 10 years, who makes his way to the main event of WrestleMania and wins, right? Yeah. They can go with that. Roman winning is him establishing himself forever as like the big dog, right?
Yeah.
But I also think if Roman wins, that's when you get a reveal at the end of the show, like the new challenger.
What if it's The Rock? Rock shows up and he points at him and he points at the sign. Next year, that's the match, no matter who's the champion or no championship. Doesn't matter.
That's true. Then he points at himself.
Yeah. And then he takes his pants off. That's how it ends.
And he points to his
moons
butt.
everybody. Medi just moons everybody at the end of WrestleMania.
People would go crazy. They'd love it, man.
Oh, man.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had this discussion.
Big fan of mooning, if that's what you're going to ask me.
I already know that. You have like 7 of those Pump Action Seymour Butts dolls in your car. And you just drive around town holding the pumps and you just moon everybody with those dolls. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So I had this conversation with my wife the other day. Is The Rock's, agree or disagree, is The Rock's brand as a person perfection?
Yeah. Yeah, that's his brand. Everything is perfect.
Right? Everything is perfect. He's a sculpted human being. His TV show shot perfectly. All the movies he does is like perfectly Rock, where it's like this insurmountable like person, right? And he does talk about positivity and all that stuff, but I just want to see your opinion on all that. You know, like is it genuine at this point, or is it very much like, this is my personal brand? I am perfect. Everything I do is perfect.
I got to tell you, it has to be genuine to be that successful at it. I don't think anybody could con that much of an image. I believe he is who he is. He really is you know what it is? He is beyond charming.
True. Yeah.
He is just beyond charming, and it really changes his... Listen, man, it's very easy to be the most charming human being in the world when you got billions of dollars in your bank account and you look the way he does. And you have this life that you've created, and he came from not much. You know, he didn't have an easy childhood. I don't know how, you know, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, obviously, but we all know, you know, he did not have the easiest childhood. His career was nearly derailed. You know, if the Nation of Domination never existed, where would The Rock have been? Which is a crazy, you know, we talk about this stuff. I think that's important to know that this guy was, you know, Jim Ross is the one that discovered him and recognized there's something great about this guy, and it evolved into becoming the biggest actor possibly of all time. Definitely, arguably, biggest action star of all time. Has he surpassed the Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, status of action hero? Yeah, I think so.
That's a good question. I do think there's a lot of similarities between both those guys, but
Arnold.
He's definitely, that's pretty good. He's definitely, I think, the biggest quote unquote like megastar in the world.
Sure.
Right? Like, he may not be the best actor, but he's definitely like a megastar. Like, any movie he's in is going to do well. It doesn't mean they're good, but it's going to do very well. Hobbs and Shaw, so much fun. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I saw. My father's a huge fan of it. My father loves my dad loves the Fast and the Furious, and I'm going to tell you guys. I love
hearing that.
Okay,
Please.
I'm going to tell you guys. You ready for this? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. The best.
My father at Thanksgiving every year will recite lines from Fast and the Furious in the most inappropriate of times. So here's a great example. This year for Thanksgiving, obviously, we were toasting, you know, like it was a bad year, but I'm glad everybody's here. My father, and he says it every year, and he goes, and the toast is done, people. He's like, I have a toast to make. He goes, listen, guys, one thing I've learned in life, and he's like tearing up when he's saying it. He goes, you have to live your life quarter mile at time. Cheers.
So good.
And I'm like, oh my God, again with the Fast and Furious reference. The first Fast and the Furious, he's referencing a 20-year-old movie. But I think that is my father's mantra in life now. He has taken that as his mantra, where you have to live your life quarter mile at a time. He does it every year now. It's become his thing. And now he's reciting other quotes that I don't know. Like he started singing the Tokyo Drift song one time.
Oh my God.
You know, with the voice and everything. It's gone. It's too much now. It's too much.
What's his favorite one?
He loves the first one, obviously. Somebody, Bob just messaged me. He goes, just a reminder, your dad had suffered major blood loss on Thanksgiving and had just had hand surgery, which is absolutely true. My father chopped his finger off on the mandolin.
Oh my God.
At Thanksgiving. So it could have been blood loss. But I don't think so, because this is an average thing every year. The first one he loves, and all the ones with The Rock he loves. Loves all the ones with The Rock.
They get progressively more insane as they go on.
Yeah.
I love that about your dad. I can totally imagine him saying that to you. Also, my wife cut a bit of her finger off a few years ago on a mandolin. I feel like those things should be banned.
You know what? I am for corporate America banning mandolins.
Yeah, they're dangerous. If you're not paying attention, you can legit slice a piece of your finger off.
Murder yourself. All right, we got derailed here. Asuka and Rhea Ripley, night 2. What do you think?
I'm cool with that. I hope Rhea Ripley wins.
All right, I'm cool with that. Asuka really took a back seat the last 2 months, huh? Charlotte came back and she kind of took a back seat with her thing. I don't know why, but excited for this match. The Fiend with Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. They have not announced if this is a Firefly Funhouse match.
No, they haven't. But I hope it's like a gnarly Fiend match.
What if there's 2 Fiends?
Ooh, like the Fiend and like fake Fiend.
What if it's Bo Dallas?
Dude.
Make Bo the burnt Fiend?
Oh my God.
And then he could have a talk box?
I want to see the return of like Cape Fear Bray Wyatt.
Cape
button down,
yeah,
with the hat, coming out slow with the song. I do like this crazy demonic goo person, Fiend though.
I'm okay with that. I don't know what they're gonna do. Let's see.
It's very, it's interesting putting Randy in like a supernatural storyline, because like when you look at Randy Orton, you don't think supernatural.
Yeah. What else do we have here? Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, right?
Awesome. That's gonna be it's gonna be a quote unquote barn burner.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Omos and AJ versus the New Day. This is a match I'm looking forward to. I feel like it's gonna be like a 10-minute opener, nice and quick, with Omos and AJ winning.
It's a weird match though for WrestleMania. Yeah, weird match for a WrestleMania. What else do we have here? Where do you want to go?
You want to just do questions because we're already at the 12.
All right. Yeah,
mark.
Let's do questions. We're gonna skip the NXT stuff because we're out of time. We'll do that this week. Actually, you're not here this week,
right?
Well, maybe no. You are here. I'm so sorry. You are here. Thursday will be live. Thursday we'll have the show. Yes.
Wink, wink.
Totally forgot. Dynamite.
If you're talking about what you texted me before, again,
yes,
amazing.
Yeah,
great.
Danny Burch injured, so the NXT titles are vacated. We'll bring that up because that's in the news. There's a ton of stuff happening on the NXT side. It's going 2 nights, and then we're leading into Tuesday for the move for NXT after WrestleMania. That's still happening. I was going to go into Ring of Honor stuff. We're totally out of time today, so we'll skip that for another day. But I do want to say EC3 and Jay Briscoe. I like that match.
Yes.
Yeah, and also Maria Kanellis announced that she's going to be in the ROH Women's Tournament.
That's awesome. Good for her. Yeah. AEW stuff, like real quick, like Cody's getting a reality show. I said that to my wife, Brandy. And she went, ugh.
Is it the neck tattoo? Because I think that turns a lot of people off now.
I think as soon as he got the neck tattoo, my wife's opinion dramatically shifted on Cody Rhodes. And she was like, oh my God, this is so great. So great. We met him, blah, blah, blah. He's doing AEW. Oh, Bullet Club. Awesome. And as soon as that tattoo dropped, bro, she was just like, hey, I've had it. I've had it with this guy.
I'm done. Fuck him.
All right. So you want to jump into some questions?
Let's do Q&As, boys and girls. Submit your questions in the chat room. MG Geek, we have a ton of questions here, but keep them coming. We're going to try to get through them as quickly as possible. We're already an hour, and what's the time here? Timestamp is where?
I think we're at hour 20.
Yeah, and the recorder stopped.
Oh, no.
Don't worry. We have a backup.
Very nice.
Don't worry.
It was fun. I know we didn't get to everything, but, we'll be getting to a lot of stuff the week after next.
Yes.
All right. So John Gorman on Andrade's release. What really changed that made WWE grant his release when the week prior we heard there was no chance that he was going to get cut?
I don't have a true answer to this, but obviously I think Charlotte played a part in this and Rick played a part in this on convincing them to release.
Interesting.
I would say that confidently.
Andrade could be Ric Flair's future son-in-law.
Yeah.
And imagine that family gathering where it's Ric Flair, Conrad, Flair's other daughter. I don't know her name. Charlotte and Andrade.
Megan.
Okay.
Megan.
Bachelor 3000, do you know what's up with Keith Lee and Aleister Black?
Yes. They don't have anything for Aleister Black right now. Keith Lee, they sent him to go work harder like a big man, and then he got sick, and then now there's a lot of weirdness. They're not really loving him. I mean, that's the truth.
That sucks.
They're not in love with him.
Is it the big man style that they don't want to see?
It's he doesn't listen, this is a dude that's only wrestled little guys his whole life. Yeah. So he does unbelievable with them, but you put him up against a big guy. A lot of certain people he worked with were tests for him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and they complained about him. There you go. That's about it.
All right. Bob Rowe, any truth to the rumor that Enchante will be dancing at the Mons Venus Club during WrestleMania?
Yes, he is. A 2-night special.
Louis Lamberti asks, have AEW YouTube views increased as well?
That's a great question. I don't know. I could find out. That's actually a really interesting question because we hear all about WWE being so strong on YouTube with their viewership, and that's a reason that they use that. The TV viewership is down, but however, they're doing tremendous as far as the digital content partners go. So I don't know. That's a very good question. Considering AEW has a younger audience, they should do well, but I don't know if their distribution method is in place. Like, if you notice, like, WWE does a far better job at putting out content online, right? Here's a great example. WWE, during the show, will update images, pictures, videos, things like that. Yes, AEW does it as well, but if you notice, they're very heavy on the video side, very low on the picture side. And I think that's a part that's missing. Like, you want to talk about continuity and connecting everything together? They definitely could use a digital asset manager or digital distribution partner manager that is able to look at their product, knows the product really well, and say, okay, you know what? This is the plan. We need to dump this photo out immediately after it happens. We need to do this photo immediately as it happens. WWE has that in place. AEW still is learning.
All right. Good answer.
Maybe that was a pitch for me to get hired. Maybe that's what it was.
That'd be great. You're the numbers guy, man.
I am the numbers guy.
From Mr. Gonzo's mind via Papa Johnzo's mouth, what's the over-under of Braun throwing Shane off the boat? That's a 1-to-1, my friend.
I would go. I think if there was a scenario to throw Shane off a boat, this is it.
This is 100% it.
100%. But do you remember we were talking about Shane getting thrown off the top of the WrestleMania thing that they had made a couple years ago? Like when it's after Stadium, they have I think the New York one, they actually had like a replication of New York on top of the ring. I think he should have fallen off there.
He's fallen off a lot of stuff, but also, I don't know if you remember this, Kevin Owens has said he's going to find some way to jump off that pirate ship.
Okay. Maybe he'll do it.
So I would say Kevin Owens with a swanton onto Sammy, but somehow Braun throws Shane off like the mainsail of the ship.
But you know what? I think that's great. But you know what, though? If you were going to take a risk in doing something very drastic, a move like that, where you could hurt the opponent, wouldn't you want it to be your best friend? Like, if that was me and you, I would be like, Rich, you cool with me doing something really bonkers? If it works, we'll look fucking like $1 million. But if it doesn't, you might get hurt. You're like, all right, let's try it. Like, you don't have like this. Shot. You're not going to think like, oh my God, you see he's being unprotected. Like, it's different when you're best friends with somebody like that. So I think those two, they could have this unbelievable WrestleMania match, and good for them. You know what it would be? What the move would be? I would the power bomb where you concussed me when I was 13. I didn't concuss you. Get over it. Backdrop off the pirate ship, and then the elbow drop following. Okay, I'm into that. So you backdrop me, I go down, and you do a big elbow off the top. Absolutely. You take all the damage. That's fine. I'm okay with that. What else do we have? Where were we? Oh, Charlotte. Here we go. Question from Lewis. Yo, what's Charlotte's status? Lol, fall from WWE grace? No, she had COVID.
Yeah.
She had COVID. So they were upset at her because she's been traveling a lot. But no fall from grace. She's fine.
Yeah, she's like she's their champ, you know?
Yeah.
Like she's gonna be their Flair winning 20 titles, you know? And then when she leaves, if it happens, she's gonna go everywhere else and win 20 titles. It's a good possibility. John Gorman asks, any word on the status of NXT and if they're still moving to Tuesdays? Is it weird that we haven't heard anything official yet?
Yes. They are moving. I don't know why they haven't announced it. They're probably going to announce it out probably next week more than anything else. That's the time to announce it. But as far as I know, they are moving. Impact is moving to Thursdays, so they're not competing. Also, Mr. Johnzo wrote, why the F did Bleacher Report change their story and the source of NXT's move? Yeah, I don't know, man. That's really bizarre. They changed the whole story.
Who did they reference as breaking the news?
I think Mike Johnson.
Okay.
I think it was Mike Johnson they referenced, but I was like, what the F is that about? Nobody knew about this except me.
It was you.
It was me. And the person that told me is bizarrely high up in that company. Like in NBC. Like very, very, very high up in that company. And he doesn't give a shit about pro wrestling. Like doesn't even, it's not even on his radar in life.
Doesn't register.
Doesn't even, like, he's like, yeah, it's wrestling, whatever. Like, he has no reason to make up a story.
Let's move on. Do you think, from Mike Awesome, do you think Retribution is totally done, or do you think they'll try to rework it to be less cheesy?
I think they're going to have that tag team between T-Bar and Mace. Is it Mace?
Yeah. I think they're going to change their names, though.
They got to do something. But you know what? They don't have the Akam and whatever, he's gone. What? Akam and Razor, they're gone, right? So that's another big team that's finished. The War Raiders are gone. They're hurt.
Yeah,
they don't really have monster tag teams right now, and that kind of fits the mold.
Yeah, WWE hates tag teams for some weird reason. Let's see. From Bob, are Rich and Andrew going to see Godzilla versus Kong on Wednesday? Yes. You have
you're going to see it.
How well, I have HBO Max, so I'm very excited to watch it.
Too.
I can't wait.
I'm into it too. My dad's very into Godzilla. My father also loves Godzilla. Loves Godzilla.
Does that mean you can't stand Godzilla?
No, I actually like Godzilla.
Okay. Shin, not so much a question, but a statement. Remember the night Enchante danced atop the ECW arena? I became a man that night.
I think we all became men that night. It was the night Kimona Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena. It's Extreme Warfare Volume 2. See the night Terry Funk fell off a ladder and broke his hip.
I can't believe you remember all this stuff like verbatim, pretty much.
Verbatim.
Eric Travis asks, how do you feel about Buddy Murphy calling out Aleister Black? Do you think this could be a swerve for Seth versus Cesaro in that both guys join Seth? And what do you do with Jeff Hardy?
A lot of questions. I have no idea. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I've never been a big Jeff Hardy fan. Like, I recognize how great he is. I recognize that he's very creative. It wasn't my generation of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, I would watch those TLC matches were great. I've seen more great Jeff Hardy matches than bad Jeff Hardy matches. I thought they were really cool as a tag team act, but like, okay.
Fair enough.
Like, I feel like if I was 12 when Jeff Hardy was having those matches, I'd be way more into Jeff Hardy, but I was already like I had already seen a lot of wrestling.
Okay.
Those goddamn Jenko pants.
Are you like not a fan of Jeff Hardy? I feel like you're like an anti-Hardy guy.
I don't like my brother, Alec, right? Not Deacon is not my brother. Just remind everybody, relation. Okay? There's no relation here. But my brother Alec, he loved Jeff Hardy. Loved Jeff Hardy.
What's the age difference between you guys?
Me and Al, 8 years.
Okay. All right, I can
8
see
years.
that. He's got the face paint. He's all
Yeah.
loosey goosey with the big jeans.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Freerks asks, if you were down in the dumps, which wrestler would you like a hug from to feel better?
Oh, that's a great question. You know what, Keith Lee?
Really?
Yeah, I think Keith Lee is a good hugger.
I could see that. I'm gonna go
like
Bailey.
very, very like meaningful. You know what I mean? Like, you know when someone gives you a hug and it's like that. I feel like Keith Lee would look at me and it's like, here, come here, and just like a nice, soft, big hug. You're a great hugger. You're a phenomenal hugger.
Listen,
who are you going with?
Appreciate it. I'm gonna go with Bailey.
We're going horny Harry on this one.
If you I feel like if your gimmick is hugging people, you're probably pretty good at it. So dude, I would definitely have it, Bailey.
Harry hugs you? Only with guys, though. Only with guys. Harry gives a hug, but you know what he does? Finger goes up the butt.
Oh, jeez. Harry has never hugged me.
Never?
No.
Interesting.
I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a hug from horny Harry,
but he's very horny all the time. You know how like 10-10 wins? You give us them. What is it? 10-10 wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. His is you give me 22 minutes, I'll show you how horny I am. That's his catchphrase.
you know, I gotta thank Shin for coming up with that nickname because it still makes me really giggle every time I hear somebody. Did Shin
come up with horny Harry?
Shin came up with horny Harry. We were in the studio, I want to say early last year, and then I look at the chat and Shin goes, "Hey, it's horny Harry."
I had no idea.
So every time I hear that, I can't stop laughing. It's so funny. Like sometimes I'll stare out the window in my kitchen and just giggle to myself at the weird shit we say on the show. You know, like
me too.
I'll take a sip of coffee and be like, horny Harry. Or like I'll take a sip of coffee and be like, Mr. Gonzo, it's great. You know?
Dude, I use this show. Listen, we have a tremendous, like I think right now, since we moved to the Observer website, I think we're getting like 20,000 downloads a week. But this is, you know how WWE books for one man? I book for this entire show is my therapeutic session.
Sure.
Where I could say all the crazy weird stuff in my mind and just release it.
Yeah, you know what? It's great. It's a nice outlet for the stuff that kind of kicks around upstairs because it's usually bonkers stuff, and it's not really like it never goes on the down. It's always on the up. It's just nuts, and this is our forum to say like really nutty shit. Shin in the chat room says, when we meet, I'll give Mr. Z the Keith Lee hug.
You know what? I bet Shin hugs really well.
Yeah, dude. I want some of that. Bob Hazelwood says he wants a hug from Trish Stratus. Ruben says he wants a hug from Sonny Kiss.
Horny Ruben.
Everybody's horny Harry.
Everybody's got
a little horny Harry.
Everybody's got a little horny Harry in him. What else do we have?
Let's see. Shin question. NXT Evolve info.
I know they taped a couple things.
Okay.
Probably after Mania. I'm looking forward to that, the NXT Evolve stuff.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Maj Raju asks, I think this is our last question.
Okay.
For NXT, do you think Dexter Lumis should win at TakeOver, but Austin Theory costs Johnny the win?
Because he likes Exo Lumis now?
And Lumis is the new champ, but Theory turns heel on Johnny.
I gotta tell you, I'm not that high. I'm not that high on Dexter Lumis.
Mm-hmm. Like, you're not saying that you're not that high. Like, you're very high. You're just not high on Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, I'm always very high. I don't know how I feel on it. I don't know. I feel like NXT became like the workers promotion for so long, where now they're like, Lumis is a character. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he's going up against a worker. So I don't know how that's going to blend. I think they've done their best with it. Listen, NXT for sure has fallen from grace. They have fallen from their where they were a couple of years ago. My criticism of the product is there's such tremendous talent on there, but you haven't told me who the man is. They don't have two tremendous top acts that you can't wait to see on the main roster. You know what? Now you're saying, "Ooh, I don't want them to go." And can we talk about Ciampa? I want you to remember. This is what I want to say about Ciampa. Okay. Ciampa's the same age as Drew McIntyre.
How old's Drew They're 35, right?
34? No, Drew's younger than me by a year. Yeah, 35, yeah. Drew and Ciampa are the same. Drew looks like a young man, while Ciampa looks like an old man at this point. I mean, whose idea is to let him grow his hair out like that?
Probably just something different, you know, because like he went through several looks.
I'm going to tell
NXT.
You, if I'm WWE, if I'm Vince, I look at this man, you're done. It's over. You're never getting elevated. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. He
just
looks
because of the hair.
He looks terrible.
That's a tough argument because, you know, like I want to bring up Mick Foley as the example of like a guy who you never thought would be 3-time WWE champion. Dude wore sweatpants and sneakers.
But that was his. You know? But again, he was supposed to look monstrous. His gimmick was that he looked like an ugly old man, but in reality, he's actually a handsome guy. Yeah. Like you look at a photo of Mick Foley without the beard and his hair put back, you're like, you know what? He's a handsome, and he has like the kindest eyes you could ever see in somebody. Foley kind of played the character. I think if they told Foley like you have to be a handsome dude wear like a suit now, he would do it and he would fit him. Ciampa, like the beard is one thing, it's fine, but are they trying to tell a story that he's at his wit's end because he can't get his title back and he's like like disheveled now? Is that what they're attempting on? Because letting the hair grow in like that really aged him.
You think they're going to keep it going? Like there's an end game to this where like he's going to have like this long, gnarly hair at some point?
I hope so. Because if that's the case, then you built something. Yeah, if he's like, no, I'm just letting my hair grow now, and you're looking at me like, all right, then that's a problem.
Okay.
He's suffering.
That's interesting. Yeah. We're all suffering, Andrew.
He's a sufferer. He's a big time sufferer. I don't know, man.
I always get a kick when you say that. Big time sufferer. It sounds so sad.
He's on the Norwood scale, dude.
It's like reading about leprosy when it comes to you talking about hair.
Hair loss.
You're like, oh, that guy's a big time sufferer. There's no hope.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, listen, this was a lot of fun today.
This was a lot of fun, guys, and we're going to have a lot of fun with you guys this week as well. Rich is away. I'm going to be doing stuff. Hopefully throughout the week, I'll record a couple things when I get back. Work schedule's been really nuts. For the people in the know why things have been nutty. But next week, Rich is away. We're going to have a show on Thursday for you guys. First day in April. I can't believe we're in April already, so it'll be a lot of fun. The following week, we got to work on that schedule because
definitely.
We have wrestling every single day. I intend on doing a watch-along on Wednesday and Thursday.
Sure.
You want to do that for Takeover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, like I'm taking this next week off, and then I'll come back fully charged for all the content that we have to watch and talk about. Okay,
so why don't we do this? Next, we're gonna work this out on the air without putting any thought into it, and then we're gonna change it so you guys don't even pay attention to this.
And guess what? We're going to change it last minute, too.
Last minute, as always. So Wednesday, we'll do an NXT watch-along. Thursday morning, we'll do regular show. Okay?
Yeah.
Thursday night, we'll do a watch-along. Friday morning, let's do a recap of NXT Takeover Night 1 and 2. Saturday, we'll do a preview. Friday, we'll do a preview to WrestleMania.
Sure.
Okay? Night 1 and Night 2. Along with NXT Takeover recap, Night 1 and Night 2. Saturday, WrestleMania watch-along. Sunday, WrestleMania watch-along. Monday morning, let's do a recap show of NXT, of everything that happened.
75% of that stuff is going to happen for sure.
75 definitely will happen.
75% of this. My wife also just texted me that she'd take a hug from Big E.
Okay, you know what? He seems like a very good hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to rest my head on his bosoms.
They're hard as rocks, man.
They are. He has beautiful bosoms. Bosom buddies. What is a bosom buddy?
The show with Tom Hanks and that other dude.
What is a bosom buddy? So we're going to have a lot of wrestling to talk about, and you know, and a whole lot more is going to happen next couple of weeks. MG Geek and Jonathan are doing a show on Tuesday, apparently. All right, let's do that too. Let's do that also. Let's do as many things as possible. It's going to be a week-long Matmen marathon. Guys, and here's the deal. If you enjoy what we're doing, you want us to do more, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/MatmenPodcast. Fund us there as little as $1 per episode. Listen, you know what it does? I send Rich, we make like a couple $100 a month from it. I send Rich his half. That's our beer money. That's our fun money. You love seeing Rich in his beautiful new shirts. Where do you think that money comes from? Also, another way to support us without giving us your money, you could buy something. Check out the Matmen shirt. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/MatmenPodcast. Buy your Matmen merch there. You could also find us everywhere podcasts are available, including the Wrestling Observer website, WrestlingObserver.com, F4WOnline.com. Hey, also, these watch-alongs, all exclusive on the F4W YouTube page, will be posted on Wrestling Observer. It's going to be a lot of fun. We saw what happened with the AEW show, how tremendous that was for us. I mean, the viewership was through the freaking roof. 60,000 viewers was something like that. So imagine what WrestleMania is going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a tremendous amount of fun together. I encourage you guys, hang tight. This week we got something cool going. Until next time, America, be strong and God bless. See you next time.
Later.